Hello everybody, welcome back to another Magic the Gathering Arena video. Today we're going to be playing an Alchemy equipment deck, or an Alquipment, as I have very snazzily named this deck. It's a pretty exciting one because I've been basically trying since the new Alchemy set came out to find a home for Foundry Beetle. This is a 1 and a red artifact creature equipment insect that has first strike. Equipped creature has first strike, and at the beginning of your upkeep, a random artifact in your hand perpetually gains. This spell costs 1 less to cast. And it has a reconfigure for a red, so it's sort of like the artifact version of the dragon fledgling. Obviously it only does 1 artifact card in your hand, but so my idea for this card really is that it needs to fit into a sort of low curvy artifact equipmenty deck. I have tried it in like a sort of gruely deck, but to be honest, just giving something first strike isn't that great unless you have a way to pump it up as well, which is what I'm trying to do here. So other new cards we are running from the Alchemy set are Inchblade Companion. So this is a 1 white artifact creature in equipment insect as well. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever it becomes attached to a creature, create a token that's a copy of it, except it doesn't have this ability. It only triggers once each turn. This sounded really weak to me when I first read it, but having played around with it a bit, it's actually a pretty strong card. Being able to sort of constantly create new 1/1 tokens to equip the Inchblade Companion onto is very powerful. So even though only the first copy actually creates copies, you can still do it every single turn by flicking it backwards and forwards between things with its reconfigure cost of 2. So this card is what I would say gives the deck quite a high skill ceiling. Knowing what creatures to buff to what levels based on what you're playing against is basically the skill level of the deck. For example, if you're playing against the Meathook Massacre, trying to keep your creature that you want to keep alive 1 step ahead of how much they can cast the Meathook Massacre for, or trying to keep a certain creature more buffed because it's the one with the more ward on it, which I'll come to in a second. So this is particularly it's what makes the deck harder to play, but it's also a very valuable part of the deck. We're running 3 of the Forgeborn Phoenix, which is 1 and 2 red artifact equipment Phoenix. It's a 2/2. For 2/2 flying for 3 is not great, but equipped creature has flying and it has reconfigure for red. But most importantly is whenever Forgeborn Phoenix or equipped creature dies, it perpetually gains when an equipped creature you control deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So in short, this card will always get resurrected when you do damage to the opponent with an equipped creature. We have lots of equipment in this deck. But also it will give that ability to any creature that died whilst this was equipped to it. So if I have this attached to my Foundry Beetle and the Foundry Beetle gets killed, next time I damage my opponent with an equipped creature, which is basically any damage in this deck, that will come back to the battlefield tap. So this gives me a very strong recursion, particularly in combination with the Inchblade Companion, which can always create new creatures for me as I attach it to things. And obviously the real sort of winner in this deck, by why we're running so many of these equipment creatures, is that I can always hide those equipment creatures as equipment under a creature. So if they do get a board wipe, I still keep the creature. So it's better than a sort of standard piece of equipment, because obviously the equipment there with nothing to attach to isn't great. However, having the equipment there is also a creature that I can attach other things to, much better. So these are the new cards we're running from the Alchemy set. We're running a couple more creatures. One is the Patchwork Automaton from Kamigawa. So this is an artifact creature construct. It's 2 and it's a 1/1, but the most important thing and the reason we're running this is it has ward 2. So it's actually kind of the main sort of starting place for this deck in the current Alchemy meta. The Alchemy meta is basically dominated by Molten Blast and by people removing your spells for cheap in a Rakdos kind of deck or similar. And this then lets you put those 1/1 counters on it, build it up to get it out of Meathook range by playing all the other artifacts in the deck. No, it is a cast, so it doesn't work with the copies out of this, but it's still a very good card in the deck, and that ward 2 is very powerful. I'm running 2 copies of Lion Sash. I was running the Bellows Breath Ogre in this space, which was another artifact creature from the Alchemy set, but it was, I think, slightly too expensive, and with the rise at the moment in the meta of the reanimating Velomachus Lawhold, I've run into that quite a few times in the ladder recently, so I'm guessing someone famous has played it. Having the ability to remove certain cards from their graveyard, and obviously buff the Lion Sash up a little bit is great, and also the artifact creature, being able to equip it onto stuff and keep it alive and survive board wipes is also just more flexible than the Bellows Breath Ogre. Still can't wait to find a deck for that to work in, but I just don't think this is quite the one. So these are our sort of creature package. I've then got what I'm calling like the sort of early buffs, which are 3 Kamano Vatus Kakazan. The reason I'm playing this is it spits out an enchantment creature, which works well with Michiko's Reign of Truth, which I'll come to in a second, because it's an artifact. But B, being able to put an extra 1/1 on either the Patchwork Automaton or the Foundry Beetle on turn 2, just to get them slightly out of that early burn range, is very, very nice. I'm only running 3 because I don't really want to be drawing them late game, so if I get one in my opening hand, great, otherwise don't worry. Leather Armor is a slightly odd inclusion in the deck, as it's a common from Forgotten Realms. This is just a 1 costing equipment. It gives a creature, equipped creature gets +0/+1 and has Ward 1. The reason for this is sometimes the Ward 2 on the automaton isn't quite enough to keep it alive and above curve for example, all the 2 mana costing destroys that are out there. And also giving it that extra Ward 1 and +1 toughness for a 0 equip cost is very nice. It is also a very cheap equipment in terms of to have around to help trigger, for example, Halvar's ability, which can just give this creature double strike for no equip cost. So a bit of extra survivability and extra equipment to have around also for plate armor, which I'll come to in a second. So the last sort of big buff that allows us to sort of early game buff our creatures, Michiko's Reign of Truth. Target creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. Again, works well with Kakazan, but also works very well with all the Inchblade companion copies we can spit out. And also the reason we have sort of low costing artifacts in the deck. So this thing tends to give our creatures a big boost in terms of being able to attack, and often we'll have first strike or flying, so some kind of what I would call death touch evasion. Death touch is sort of a bit of a nasty thing for low curve creature decks, because even no matter how big your creature is, they can kill it off. Not with these two, particularly I'm thinking Death Touch Connoisseur. This is nice to get around that, and obviously we then get a creature at the end which is getting buffed for all of our artifacts as well. I then have what I'm calling my sort of mid-range buff package. So I've got 2 more of the Skyclaves. This kind of needs no introduction. Additional flying, first strike, and some damage, and it comes in equipped to something. So it's a nice, just as the opponent's starting to think that they are going to be able to meet hook our creature, we can give it an extra 2/2, or if they manage to put a larger creature in the way, for example, this is particularly helpful against mono green decks, where they can actually get quite large creatures down by turn 3-4. This is great in those situations. Running 2 copies of plate armor, so this gives our creatures +3/+3 and another ward 1, which is, again, as I was saying, the ward is very important in this deck. Being able to keep your creatures alive in an equipment deck is very valuable. But the nice thing about this is it costs 1 less for each other equipment we control. Obviously all of these creatures are equipments, as well as, we could spit out multiple copies of Inchblade Companion. So yeah, this is often free to equip in this deck, and it gives +3/+3 and Ward 1. It's a nice little piece of equipment to have around. We don't want too many of them, because you don't want loads sat in your hand that you then can't pay the 3 cost for early on, but having a couple in the deck is nice. I've then got my kind of top end or finishers, which is 2 Angel Fire Ignitions. So this is nice because it gives trample. We don't have another way of giving that in the deck. It gives a lifelink, which can help against the sort of Rakdos or grindy anvil decks, things like that, and can help just push us over the line. Similarly for Halvar, this gives double strike, but also the sort of the realm side gives us some kind of recursion and vigilance if we need it for an extra equipment. So this can be the sort of, this combined with giving them flying through either more of the Skyclaves or Forgeborn Phoenix. Flying and double strike is a pretty lethal combination often. And then we've got 3 Showdown of the Scalds just to sort of give us that extra kind of top end draw. This deck was really missing it when I didn't have it in there. So, it gives us 4 more cards, which is very nice against Undercity Plunder, because they are 4 cards that your opponent can't force you to discard. And everyone who's playing Alchemy at the moment knows Undercity Plunder is in probably half of decks. But also it's giving us those next 2 levels in the saga of being able to put counters on our creatures and probably just get them over that limit to be able to kill off the opponent. So that's the deck. I am running 24 lands, pretty standard land package. I'm not running any man lands at the moment, just because I kept finding getting them tapped on turn 3 was too much of a pain. I probably will add them back in, as that was probably just anecdotal pain. So I'm only running 3 Forsaken Crossroads instead of 4. as well, is that having them tapped on turn 3 is just so painful for an aggro deck. But I'll probably will slightly tweak the mana base, but this is what I've been experimenting with for now. And yeah, it's a pretty difficult deck to play, as hopefully I'll be able to show in some games today. So yeah, I'm going to have a few games now and show you how I get on. Okay, here we go. Sleepy Joe. So I've managed to... I got to Diamond using mono green, and then I've been grinding this deck up from base of Diamond, so got to a little of the way up. So this is a pretty nice starting hand. I mean, I don't really want 4 lands in my opening hand when my my top mana costing card is 4. This is an aggro deck ultimately, but it's not worth mulliganing for that. Oh, I've crashed. Okay, it's a great start. Great start to the video. Managed to crash on game 1. This is, I would normally cut out like a crash out of these videos, but I think it's important to show everyone else that does watch this that, you know, Magic the Gathering Arena doesn't just crash for you, it crashes for everyone. I've got a very decent new PC, still crashes. Nothing you can do about that. Right. So we've drawn Maul of the Skyclaves whilst being out of the game. So get the Kakazan down first. This is the ideal. 1 of these in your opening hand and then don't draw any more. And then we'll get the Automaton down. So the nice thing about dropping this on turn 2 is that we know it's got Ward 2, so we know there's nothing they can do with their 2 mana to affect it. Toralf's Disciple. Okay. Some kind of burn deck, I suppose. Which is an interesting one. But burn deck going to struggle a bit against all the Ward, I'm hoping. So, I think it's interesting. Running a 63 card deck, 55 plus 5 plus 3, oh no, 64. We could put the Phoenix in. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Obviously, we want to play the artifact before combat phase so that we give the boost to the Automaton. So now I'm always thinking when I'm playing this, so they're going to have 4 mana available, so they have to, you know, do 3 damage for 2, which they can do. So, but it does use their whole turn to kill the Automaton. It's not the end of the world. They've done it because I think they don't want us putting the Phoenix on it, but that's okay. I could chunk with the Phoenix there, but I don't really have a need to at the moment. I think I'm better off sticking the Sash in. So we can exile 1, but then we can't equip it. So I think we'll attack. What I might then do, so if I equip the Phoenix to the Sash, I can block, get the Phoenix, will drop back onto the field, and I can then equip it to the Kumano to... In fact, we don't want to block at all. I'll just stick this under the Sash to protect it, basically. And then if they nuke the Sash, at least it will gain the ability to come back. This is where there's some tricky decisions in this deck and how you're playing it, but just thinking what the opponent could do. Basically, the only thing that I don't want to happen to this is for it to get exiled by, you know, Spikefield Hazard, which we know they're running. But they shouldn't be able to do that as... Okay. As I can exile 1 permanent. Okay, we'll just let that die. They haven't managed to kill this off, which is nice. And that's now gained the ability to come back, and that perpetually gains it. So I never need to equip Forgeborn Phoenix to that again for it to gain that if I don't want to. And obviously I have the ability to attack with something equipped unless they get rid of all my creatures with Maul of the Skyclaves. So even if they kill Phoenix now, it's coming straight back next turn. Which means I don't get the attack with it. Conductive Current. They've actually pulled a Spikefield, which is rather annoying, but probably the only thing they could do for 1 mana on me there. But so what I need to do here, put this on the Phoenix. I can also put this on it. There's no reason not to. Attack. That gets me back my Lion Sash. and I can then... I could hide the Phoenix, but they're going to probably use this anyway. Actually, no, they probably won't, because if I hit... They might use it in conjunction with something else to try and kill the Phoenix. What I'll probably do is hide the Phoenix under the sash, not thinking about the fact that the Maul drops off. That's actually quite a bad play. I told you this deck could be difficult. Obviously, when you attach a creature to another creature, the equipment on it drop off, which is not a problem for this because it's free, but this one is a slight problem. Okay. So, we need to do 6. I don't think I can do 6. If I try and attach them all, they will probably kill the Phoenix. I think it's my only play at the moment. Okay, they haven't. So for now, I will also put the leather armor on there. I don't think they can do 4 instantly. I guess they can, because of the conductive current. In that case, we'll just put the beetle in. So we need a creature to be able to do damage in order to... Oh, that's us dead, isn't it? Okay. Just about got there, over the top of us. What I needed in this game was to pull the Angel Fire. That live game would have got us there, but never mind, we'll try again. Okay, here we go. Pegasus. This is good because we've got the automaton. So something I didn't mention during the design phase was that I could play this obviously and play leather armor out, but I don't want to. Like, none of the 1-drop artifacts are worth playing on turn 1 if you've got the automaton in your hand, because this can't be removed on turn 2, and it's always worth holding on to it and getting the trigger. Even the Inchblade Companion, I could put the 1/1 in, hit for 1, but if I put it in next turn on turn 3, I'm going to get a +1 counter on the automaton, and I'm not risking that card. Hope that makes sense. I've not said it particularly well, but so we're running into Esper here. With opponent is sticking whilst I try and play out my Jwari, whilst I try and play out my leather armor, which makes me think they could be holding a Jwari, given that they have already played 1. But do you know what? I think we want to make them play it if they are. Even if they have 1, they don't want to cast it. So they're getting hit for 5 on turn 3, pretty nice. So this is giving +3/+3, because we have 3 artifacts and enchantments. And odds are they can't remove this. I mean, they could put 1 more blue down and unsummon it, or Fading Hope, I mean. I know they can't even do that, because it's got Ward 3 now, so they cannot remove this at all. So it's probably worth putting the Foundry Beetle and then using the other Michigos, because we know they can't remove this. It's going to hit for like a ton. See if they have a counter. The main thing that this deck struggles against is Divine Purge. If like for some reason Divine Purge hits artifacts. If it didn't, it would be a reasonable card against this deck. As it does, we're basically doomed. Okay, we can hit for 10. Worst case scenario is they manage to remove the automaton with a 1-costing spell, potentially Fragment Reality. At least we have got a 1-costing creature to get back. They can't do that. People are always getting fooled by the Ward 1 on leather armor. GG. And that just shows you how powerful the ward is on the automaton. It itself doesn't need to be huge because we can make it big with the other stuff. Okay, we'll try again. Okay, got a very quick game this time. No name opponent. I don't know how this person's managed to do this. I have played against them before. No name. Okay. So this time I've only got 2 land and no automaton, which is our powerhouse, but it's still a pretty nice hand. as long as we get one more land or so. So this time I will play out the Companion, just because we don't have the Automaton in our hand. I mean, we could draw it, but nope. Okay, there's the one more land. I'm going to swing with this, and then put the Beetle in. So obviously this we want to play after as many artifacts down as possible, and the Lion Sash is just a bit weaker than the Beetle early on, if there's nothing in graveyards. Slightly more expensive reconfigure, yeah. I'm not sure about this card. Okay, there's our Beetle down. So I would have liked to manage to create another Inchblade Companion this turn, but I can't. So I'll just play out this and this and put that on the Lion Sash. I mean, the nice thing about that is it just makes it slightly harder to remove this, but also people don't see the threat in this card, and hopefully this game I'll get to show why this is a threat. Alright, so we have 3 equipments in play, so this would be free to equip, but I'm one short of doing that and the Inchblade. So what I might be better off doing is equipping the Inchblade and playing Michikos. Obviously I'm going to take a hit off Rahilda, potentially, but if I swing, which actually I can use the Inchblade token to block for me. I equip first to get the extra artifact, and now attack. Now they've got to remove our Chumpy if they want to get their Rahilda through. So I could reattach the leather armor to this. I'd rather leave the Lion Sash harder to remove, as it goes back down to 3 toughness. I think I will block. Okay, that's very nice. That's evasion for our creature. Although I don't have the 3 red in order to equip it. So there's no advantage to playing it before combat. I could put the plate armor on this, but it's likely to be blocked anyway, I would say. So I could pump this by removing the Foundry Beetle. I think I'll do that, because I'm going to play this anyway, which leaves me with 1, yeah. Oops, I meant to do that on, oh, never mind. And I will probably move the Sash onto the Phoenix, as they are likely to want to try and remove that. Also gives me a reliable blocker for Rahilda. So the question for our opponent here is, you know, okay, I was going to say, do they want to attack with both? They do. Seems they don't have an instant, which is nice. I'm not sure how they're planning on surviving next turn. With a Massacre. Okay, we've still got 1 creature though. And having 1 creature is all we really need in order to be able to get the Phoenix back. That gets us our Phoenix back, and I then have 1 mana left over to hide the Phoenix under the portrait. Okay, there we go. We've managed to turn over the Rakdos deck. Just with enough early game pressure. That's without even actually drawing the Angel Fire, which I'm starting to think maybe 1 more would be good. I think I need enough creatures, so maybe we'll keep the balance for now, but yeah, that was a good one. We'll try again. Okay, here we go. Dark Ale. We can for sure beat this person. Right. Yep. I mean, I can't ever mulligan away these. Oh no. This is such a low curve deck. Tasha's is very nice against us. On the plus side, we do put pressure fast, and it's hard to remove our creatures. These are what I want. Which goes. Okay. So, I mean, the Sash is going to have a lot of targets in our own graveyard. But then I want to get this down first, I think. I mean, I could play the Skyclaves, but we're going to want both of these, I think. So if one gets removed, we've still got the warded threat. Sadly, it just means this is a bit of a dead turn. Should have attacked, really. Okay, one did get removed. That's good. That's their Demon Bolt out of the way. Ah, 2 plate armors. Alright. So, I think it's playing both this and this out this turn. We want to keep creature presence. We can equip them onto each other afterwards. Don't know if we're expecting counters. I don't think so in a mill deck, but I am expecting burn for this, but no, see, the ward. They can't target that. That's nice. I mean, this just means I can get more counters on the automaton. They'd be much better off paying the ward and getting rid of this. They're just, it's classic like card vomit. They're using it because they've got it. It's not nice to see our 4-drops going. We've got one in the hand, one already gone. Just mean, oh my god. Okay. Maybe it's a Skyclaves here. Problem is if they remove the automaton after I Skyclaved, I'm in trouble. But I can hit for 5 + 1 6 this turn, and it puts this out of burn range, so it'll only be bounce, which they are running Fading Hopes and Dwaggo Zeros, and they'll have the mana for each, but then maybe that's good if they have to do that. Kind of want to force them to remove this turn, because if they don't, yeah, this will kill them. Okay, so they're looking for a Fading Hope. It's the only thing that they can deal with this now. Use to deal with this. Knowing that we have this in hand is nice for us, and maybe they don't know that, but I think they would assume they're dead next turn. This is already a 6/6, doesn't need a lot of buffing. Wilds. Nope, not going to get there, I'm afraid. I guess they can bounce the Halvar before we attack. That's the other way they can stop this. Still got a third of our deck left. The thing is, Halvar's probably out of burn range for instant 2 mana, yeah. But not out of bounce range. So they can buy a turn by using a Fading Hope on this, but if they use it on this, it means it's one less that they have to, one fewer that they have to deal with this, sorry. So yeah, I think we're in a pretty good place. And this is going to flip with haste in 2 turns. It's assuming that if they do manage to deal with this or this in the next turn, then they probably won't be able to mill 20. Because they'll have to copy a Tasha's or something, which I suppose they can actually do, plus drop a land. See if they can bounce the Halvar. I guess not. They would have done it by now. GG. just got enough power down because we got one of the finishes in our hand. If we didn't manage to draw the Halvar or or the Maul, might have been in more trouble. But yeah, here we go. I'm having so much fun playing this one. Someone who's already made mythic. I played a few against this person yesterday, so it should be good fun. Pretty sure they always play green, and that makes sense based on the name. So it could be an interesting matchup. There we go. We'll just put our companion in. This is all we got. But Forceful Cultivator, lovely. Here comes the automaton. Do we attach this and attack? Probably. Need to get some damage in. Since I haven't got any artifacts presently to buff this. Also, I don't really want to show this in case they've got some easier removal for it until we can actually make it a bit bigger. Fine. So are we expecting the troll? No. Liberator. This is actually a really good card. I've played with this a little bit, but hopefully it's going to struggle against us clearing a bit of a path, but let's see. So this time we want to get this down. I could put this, or I can attach this. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So I'll attack with this one. And then reconfigure this across here. Get myself an extra token. Obviously they can remove this with a Blizzard Brawl, but it costs them 3. Tusky. This classic combo. Always worth a jump on that. Okay, here's our anti-Tusky. What's just saying in the pre-game how good this is against green. And this is why. Even they can have all the cards in the world now, they're going to struggle to race this because it's going to cost 3 additional mana, and they need a creature big enough to fight it. It's pretty much green's only removal, right? So even with like Inscription of Abundance, yeah, that's pretty good. That makes racing work for them. Thankfully I can still chump the Liberator. Okay, this is interesting. Because we got a creature under here. Although I guess they got the Tuskies, so it's not that interesting. No lands. That's nice. Okay. So what that's telling me is... how much do we want? We've won next turn, so it doesn't matter. So, I don't want to attack this turn, I suppose. Although blocking this will always be dangerous. This can jump, block this. Anything with haste shouldn't kill us. It'll be 8, 10. Yeah, okay. What I need to do is not attack, I think. And we should win. Unless this doubles and then they've got some fight spell that they can use that, like, I guess this can double the power for this. They can then Blizzard Brawl. Pay the 3. Yeah. basically... So the thing is, they can potentially Snakeskin Veil. I mean, the thing is, people don't really run that anymore. Interesting. They're just doing the same thought process I just went through, I think. So obviously I don't want to block Tusky, because I think we just want to block like this. In case they've got a pump for this. They can't pump this enough, it's going to die. It's going to die in first strike. So I think we're getting Inscription of Abundance here maybe, but they've only got 6, so they can't do that. No. They were like hovering their Liberator as if they were going to do that, but... So I guess it's whether they have Blizzard Ball. At the moment I don't have a way of forcing the creature underneath Patchwork Automaton through, so Blizzard Brawl would be nasty. Only costing 4 of their 6. I mean, obviously they still do have enough, but if I had Blizzard Brawl when I was them, I would have played it first. No. Okay, then we win. They got no reach. Sweet. I don't know if they have any life gain, but just in case. I can't think what. I guess Tamios could gain them too. They could have 2 of those. This should be enough to seal the deal. Cool. I think they were hoping we would they could Tamios combat trick me there or something, but yeah. Whew. Just about got over the top of green, but thank God we draw the Maul, or the Angel Fire would also kind of work in the same way, but yeah, that's good. Try again. Okay, I'd like to try it against one more different deck today. I've gone from playing against Mythic players to playing against Platinum, but just because I think nobody plays Alchemy, so this is a good hand. Start with this always. It'd be nice to draw one of our 2 custom creatures, but I won't be too upset if I don't. At least I have something to use the token on. I did. Now this is much nicer. 3/3 first strike. I mean, a 0/4 wall is a bit painful, but hey. See, that's actually a bit nasty, isn't it? I mean, I can leave the Kakazan back to defend against that. Don't like to give them life. White, I suppose. Do we want that? Probably not. We'll always get more land than we need. I guess I can... I've only got 2 equipments, so this I won't be able to attach. Can't attach that. Can't attach that. So I can't actually even attack with this. I guess I could and I hope they block, but... I think what I should do is attack and I hope they block. If they don't, I'll just equip this onto here. Or if they do even. Maybe we can get some free damage. There we go. Now we'll stick this under here, so that's got first strike, and then put in the companion. Obviously I can pop this back out next turn for 1, but it is my 1 red. I think not giving them 3 life is worth it. Now they can make me discard, but Okay. I'm going to take it from underneath. That is interesting. So, this is a strange deck they're playing. So I can sash, but I can't equip it. I could equip this and create a 1/1. That might be the way to go, but then I've only got 1 and I can't do anything with that. Maybe this. Just create a blocker for now. I think so. I think I'll stick this on here and not attack. I'll not attack for now. This is a... maybe I should have attacked. I'm not sure, because I have this as a blocker, but I don't really want to lose it, because even though it's a good trade, I'd rather trade the token versions, so I can actually keep the creature creation going. It's slightly annoying that they've managed to remove the one thing that reduces the cost of this in my hand, but this is a very good hand. I don't know what they'll pick here. Probably the Michikos? Maybe plate armor, because it's reduced cost. Yeah, they're not sure what to pick either, are they? Oh, that's a pretty nice take. So they're playing like an aggro discard pile. So I think what I'll do now is configure this onto here, just for this token. I can then swing, and then put this in. So now they can attack with their 2/2 and a 3/4, but we'll win a race if that's where we're going. I see this is just a painful bomb deck, like everything under 3 cost, apart from a little bit of removal. Okay. 13 against 13. This is where we want to be, because this is pretty... Michiko's it's costing more because of Dahlia, but this is pretty much where we want to be. So I can get an extra 1/1 on the sash, making it a 2/2, and then I can hold open white to make it a 3/3. I think we'll do that, rather than play the other companion right now, because that holds back 3 of their attackers, or they have to do a bad attack and we can block Dahlia. Okay, costing themselves 1 more. Apparently they don't have the creatures to support the captain. Oh dear, it's falling apart for them. So we'll exile our own plate armor, but never mind. And then block the Dahlia, because we've got 2 non-creatures that we want to be able to play. Yeah, fine. And then we win, because we got this from here is plenty of damage. Just to show how much damage we can get up to here. I mean, we can then move these 2 counters on here as well, basically. There we go. Yeah, that was a bit of a funky deck from the opponent, but it just showed how powerful our deck can be, even in the face of other like removal and aggro decks. Cool, good game. So here's a quick look at the stats on untapped.gg. So 6 wins, 1 loss. I mean, I did play a bunch more of this deck under a different name as well. It's only since I renamed it. I think I also didn't have the client tracking my games for enough of it. But I mean, the 1 loss we had against Burn, I showed in the film. I think it was, I probably could have won. You know, it was probably due to a slight misplay. This deck is very hard to play, and it's hard to play well. But we performed well against Rakdos, Orzhov, green, like basically mono white. Anything you come up against at the moment in Alchemy, we're performing well against. So yeah, I think it definitely does need some tweaking. Not 100% sure about the Halvar's number of lands, Showdown of Scalds, or the sort of leather armor bit to the deck, but you know, it's definitely a work in progress, and it's going to be the thing that I try and take to Mythic this month, I think. So if you've got any suggestions on the deck, or any comments or feedback, please do let me know. But otherwise, bye for now, guys.